worked with them before, haven't you?
Yeah. We started. It started out as an idea that was quite an abstract idea. Actually, it was after watching a documentary called Into Eternity, which is about the Finnish nuclear waste program. So they're planning on burying all this nuclear waste, and they had to figure out how to kind of keep it. It was going to be dangerous for 100,000 years, basically. So to prevent people from going and messing with the nuclear waste for 100,000 years, and people might not even speak English anymore, how to deal with that. And that made us start thinking about a kind of entity that might protect an area like a forest and eventually evolve into that. Yeah.
So what's the writing process?
Well, that's a question for Garrett.
Yeah.
He's that guy there.
I can't remember. Oh yeah, hello everyone. Sorry. Well, the writing process. Well, we had to do it quickly, and there was I had a lot of preoccupations that I shared with Lorcan, and we all went in there, and then a lot came out.
What kind of preoccupations?
Witchcraft, personal problems, henbane, mushrooms, Durkheim's anomic suicide for the highbrow people in the audience. The script was, it changed a lot, you know. Devoy was a lot more pronounced than that. We pulled back on things, and we allowed people interpret it for themselves. You know, we didn't want to have it, you know, like, oh, this is, you know, look after the environment. It's not all about that. It's also about mental illness. It's also about like people's attitude to themselves. It's actually said in the movie when Olivia is tripping, you know, explicitly. But that's what the film is about to me, anyway. So it could be about other things to other people. So that you have boundaries on yourself as a person. You have boundaries on the world. This is how we approach everything in a very mechanistic way. But there's other things going on
That we don't understand.
that we don't understand.
They're without name.
And they're without name.
Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
I feel like that was pretty good ending.
What did the script look like? Because it's a very visual film. Was it a very verbose script? So you maybe
Yeah, well, I mean, I sent the script to these guys, so they know better.
No, I think it was pretty. It was on the page. It was, you know, it was in final draft. It was normal. Yeah, I could read, and I could read it. No, I think it was fine. It was very descriptive of that world, but it was a page turner, and it read like a normal script. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you stripped out a lot of stuff that was probably more on the page when you came in edit and stuff, and there's probably less on screen than was written in some places, or more on screen, but in a visual way, yeah.
Translated rather than through dialogue. So, but I mean, that's the difference between script and movie. So.
do you have anything to say about it?
Yeah, we stripped away a lot more of the dialogue. There was a lot more in the unsaid. Wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
And where did you shoot the film? Because it has a very there's a big accent on location in the film. We have the concrete. We have lots of we have the quarry scene that starts the film. Then you have the city scenes, and then you have the greenery of the forest. Where did you shoot the movie, and what were you looking for?
Actually, the opening place was the hardest. We found the main location is Glendalough National Park, which is a beautiful national park in Wicklow, just outside Dublin, and. But the opening scene was actually the hardest place to find, because we wanted somewhere that would feel very vacuous and empty, but without being too kind of cliche. And with Alan's or Eric's job being a land surveyor, kind of needed to show what he did and why he felt kind of empty as a person at the time. And so that was Quarry, which was a great find. We couldn't find that until like one of the last days of shooting, and we kept sending stuff. Car parks, no. But yeah. So the other area, you know, the apartment block and all that is just, you know, those typical kind of places that are like a grid. So a lot of the environment at the beginning of the film is just very unorganic to contrast with the organic, the dendritic fractal kind of patterns that go on in the more natural environments.
So what kind of shoot was it? Maybe you could start and then we'll go to the actors' recollections.
What do you mean, what kind of shoot?
Well, is it a difficult shoot because you're shooting in nature, you're not in a set?
I don't know, personally I find it a lot easier to shoot outdoors, and we did a week of nights, which I loved personally, being out in the rain and the wind and in a great location. It's a little bit boring shooting in like kitchens and stuff. I do commercials and stuff like that, and it's always just like shooting in the kitchen. Yeah, it's great. I love it,
But sometimes actors prefer working in kitchens.
Probably.
How did you
with clothes on and stuff.
No, we had the location was amazing. So when it got to kind of feeling that kind of loneliness and isolation, you didn't really have to think too far outside the box because we were isolated and lonely. Yeah.
No, it was too cold. Really cold. A
It
lot.
was pretty cold.
Yeah, but no, it was good. It was. I think. Yeah, you need those real places to make it real for you. And yeah, I think we started the film, if I'm right, outside all the time for 2 weeks before we moved in, and that kind of added to it for us because it put you in that mindset before. I was going to say before we did the normal scenes, but I'm not sure there were any.
The theme was like full on.
Yeah, the breakfast. Yeah, that's about it. That's the most normal we got.
No, I mean, first day shooting though was,
Yes. Yeah.
Was there nudity in the first day?
Yeah, I'm good. I think there was. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, naked.
The film has a very supernatural vibe. It has a very eerie quality to it. How did you communicate that to the actors? Was it in the script? Did you show them films, or did you?
I made a short film that was quite sort of supernatural. I worked on with Garrett as well, Foxes, and when the guys read the script, obviously I showed them that and sort of explained the overall vibe, and also I had a Spotify playlist with music that was sort of in the same vibe as well. I think they listened to that on set a little bit as well. And I even sent on some Terence McKenna.
You did send me that.
To listen to, which is sort of what The Boy was based on, and just a lot of that kind of more philosophical ramblings of people who've taken too many drugs.
Can you go into the Spotify playlist a little bit more? What?
God, I don't know. It's probably if you have Spotify Pro, you can find me, and you can probably find it under Without Name. Yeah, it's all
Is that helpful to you as an actor to listen to, or does it just give you an indication of where the film is going?
Well, like for Olivia, I feel like to choose the polar opposite of what Eric was experiencing, so I kind of stayed away from it because she wasn't really being exposed to what she wasn't kind of on the same world. Yeah, she was trying to constantly kind of isolate herself from that. So maybe you.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely helped because in some ways it's getting into character, and also it's getting into Lorcan's vision, and so if that was influencing the way Lorcan was going to edit and make the film, then of course it fed into what we did. And I remember listening to, because I'm a cliche, was a lot of the Doors actually when we were doing the trimming stuff, because for me that was growing up. Not that I ever did anything. If I ever did anything, it would have been around the period where I was listening to the Doors. So I kind of I was lighting my fire and things.
Yeah.
So that's too bad.
The sound design is incredible in this film.
Yeah.
I understand.
Asa, props. He's still here, isn't he?
Over here.
Oh, come on. Just out centre middle.
What's his name?
Asa.
So Asa, how did you work with Asa to get this incredible sound?
Yeah, I don't know. We just kind of gelled. We both. Asa really liked the scripts, and we just talked about it a lot. So by the time we were coming to actually do the sound design, he pretty much knew what it was going to be, you know. And that was the way he worked with the editor as well, and the composers. You know, we just talked a lot before coming to post, so it all kind of was taking form while making the film. You know, it's all a little bit experimental at the same time. We didn't have a fortune to make, so nobody actually paid back. Well, Word, if you film Word, probably argue that, but.
Ainsley, would you like to add anything to that? About what you were trying to achieve with the sound, what the world of the film was.
Yeah, well, I guess there's two kind of things we were trying to achieve. One was that idea that the whole forest was alive, or there was one entity that kind of communicated between themselves, between all the tiny branches, like a brain almost. But then also we were kind of going down the roots. Was the wrong word. Trying to go the kind of really deep stuff as well, like the roots of the trees and the heart, the blood of the trees, as that kind of stuff. So a lot of that is that kind of abstract stuff, I guess, and a lot of those slow shots of the trees and stuff. But then adding on that, then was kind of trying to convey Eric's descent into madness, I suppose. And then, yeah, I think the whole idea of this guy, or that people can lose their minds, but maybe they're not mad. Maybe they actually do go to some weird place where they're trapped forever, and you know, through these use of these mushrooms or whatever. So it was, yeah, somewhere kind of trying to draw the line between the supernatural and the psychological descent into losing your mind, I suppose, which is probably the scariest part of it, I think. That's what it's about, really, I think, for me.
Sounds like a good place to get time to go into audience questions. Does anybody have any questions for the filmmakers? We've got quite a lot of them here. Oh, sorry, you're in the dark, I can't see you.
Congratulations on a very atmospheric film. I wonder if there were any particular influences, because there were one or two moments that remind me of some of the classier horror films of the 70s, like Picnic at Hanging Rock, for example.
I love Picnic at Hanging Rock. And Nick Rogue and a lot of the 70s films. I mean, Garrett and I are both sort of probably a more traditionalist approach to that kind of thing. And in some ways, I think because they probably didn't have a fortune to make films back then, and they also didn't have massive studio pressures and all that kind of thing. They made very artistic, interesting films, Polanski as well, and yeah, they probably are influences. Yeah, I think that sort of stuff should be revived a little bit, because it's more filmmaking than trying to sort of please audiences. Sorry. But like, if there's interesting techniques, then you can kind of be a little bit more abstract and impressionistic, and try and convey a feeling rather than trying to spell things out. You know, it's more use of visual language, I think.
How do you feel as actors?
That's for me to answer. Well, no, I agree. I mean, I'm a massive fan of those films from the 70s. Don't Look Now, you know, all of those where it's atmosphere over obvious scares. And I think this film is full of that. And I think it's going to be Marmite. It really will. And Marmite's, you can't even buy it anymore. But yeah, it's the kind of film that it takes you on a journey, and if you want to go on that journey, it's not going to be obvious in many ways where the journey is going to be, and it's not thrills and spills every 10 minutes or every 15 minutes as the screenwriting rule is. But I think it's richer for that, and I personally love seeing films like this when they're just different from the mainstream fare, and obviously this is a great cinema for this, and I've been fortunate enough to see great films like that in here. And, you know, I wish we made more stuff that wasn't just tailor-made for multiplexes and had something to say. So I'm glad we did it.
Let's ask a couple more questions. Anybody has any? One here.
Was there a specific myth you picked, or that kind of changed anything? I've noticed a few references to the old Irish stuff, but is there, or is it more imagination?
It wasn't based off any story or anything like that. Yeah. The shadow people were a little bit of an influence, yeah.
A lot of people say they see shadow people, you know. And
What's the question for?
Hi. You spoke about the sound design earlier and just touched on the fact that as a composer, and it's one of those films I think where the music and the sound design just sort of melts together and you can't really work out where one ends and the next begins. You know, there's some great films in recent years like Gravity and The Revenant where that's the case, and I think this is it's up there with those two in that sense. My question though is how you work out where music ends and sound design begins, and how do you negotiate that between these two different people you're working with?
Again, I guess it's a lot of discussions. The composers